What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to One Piece 1144. We are here. Like and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Alright, people are flowing in. Make sure you hit that like button so that YouTube knows to send things out. It appears we're in YouTube jail again, I guess. Doesn't look like they're pushing the streams out right now. But doesn't change the fact that we're still here, we're still going through it, and I'm excited for this one just because I'm expecting a lot out of this chapter. Luckily, I haven't been spoiled, but you know, we were talking about it last week, and since this is 100 chapters from Gear 5, let's see if Mathpiece can, you know, definitively be proven correct. Because there's a lot of Mathpiece detractors, but if we get Loki's fruit, or we get some information on Nika, some great bombshell, then, you know, like, Oda's thinking about this stuff. Alright, let's get started. Okay, a time for warriors. We've got Tama, Yamato. We've got, what's his name? Is it Minatomo? Something? The guy who fixes doors that trained Frankie, that also is a play for the guy who fixed the doors in Romance Dawn. In the back, we've got some ladies. One of them might be Osame. Looks like Yamato probably made quick work of who's who off screen. And let's see. Oh yeah, Minatomo. I got the name right. I think that's what I said. Minatomo the carpenter and the girls are freed. That was the first page there. Shout out to Old Green Knees, supered right at the beginning here. Says, Captain, thanks for doing it. I hope your Sunday's great. Me too. It's the start of it here. Right here with you guys. One thing I can't get out of my mind is why some awakening sashes are white and some are black. Help, Captain, what does it mean? So, you know, let's think about the clear or white ones, which are Luffy, Yamato, Chad, help me out if you can think of some there. And then the black ones, we've got Lucci, right? I think probably Kaku as well. I can't think of any other black ones in particular right now. Well, did we see it with Shamrock's sword? That might have been black as well. I bet if someone asked this in an SBS, Oda would have some cheeky response like, it has to do with the color of their soul or something. So it's like, I really feel like it's villains that have had the black ones and quotations, heroes or protagonists that have had the clear or white ones. Kip said Thomas in her training arc, yeah. My guy Luke's in chat. Hey man. Said, I really hope there's a payoff with this Yamato arc. I'm so very uninvested. I think that, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm with you, but I think that Oda's going to do the same sort of thing that he did with showing what happened to Pudding and then connecting it to the main story. And I think that I think the intention behind this is to feel like Yamato is like getting out in the world and like exploring their own freedom, you know, not being locked up in Onigashima right before someone like Blackbeard appears to get Pluton. Or maybe it's Crocodile, which is what I would prefer. Either way, Yamato is going to lose to whoever comes and maybe get captured. If it's Blackbeard, captured. If it's Crocodile, just gets beaten. But which is great as a Crocodile fan if that happens. Luke said, "Oh, good call with Pluton, man. I completely forgot." Yeah, it's, you know, this Caribou thing's gonna have a payoff, and since, you know, he was there when they were talking about Pluton being at Wano, I feel like that's got to pay off. I think it's gonna take too long for them to go and get Shirahoshi. I mean, then again, Van Augur can warp, but I really like the idea of, like, if we don't know where Pluton is, but Pizarro can, like, become an island and then, like, become one with an island. It's very easy if Pizarro shows up, fuses with Wano, and then, like, unearths Pluton underground or something. But anyway, let's go to page 2 here. Whoa, what is this? Well, what do you think it is? We're here with Frankie and Ripley. It's been here for ages. It looks like pure science to me. See, I figured a mechanical man like you would enjoy it more than anyone else. I'm not seeing the scientific affects here. It looks like a tree, but, you know, maybe it's, when it's in color, it'll be different. What's a facility like this doing in a kingdom of warriors? Okay. Is Frankie finally going to get an upgrade, or what? Luke said, audibly gasped at that idea. Hey, up here, Frankie. Oh, so Lilith and Bonnie are already in this facility. I'm glad you found this place. I was going to tell you about it later. It's really cool inside, Frankie. Lilith, Bonnie, what are you two doing here? We got lost. Thank you for finding us. Even a genius can be bad at directions, I guess. I'm glad we ran across you then. I've been hearing alarms in the distance, so there's probably danger in the woods. Anyway, listen to this. I can hardly believe this place. By my estimation, this building stood here for at least 3,000 years. If I'm not mistaken, that is exactly the amount of time that Chaka says to Vivi that the palace has been around and in their family. When Vivi shows up to tell Chaka to destroy the palace, Chaka's like, but this palace, it's been standing for 3,000 years. I want to go back to that. I feel like it's going to be something similar. I'm getting corrected in chat. Brandon is saying Alabarna Palace was 4,000 years. Okay. Alright. Shout out to everybody in here. Get those likes. Alright, so... What? Don't lie to me. Do you realize how ancient that makes it? Can't say she's wrong, though. Even in Elbaf, we have no record of what this building is. Matt B said the Ohara tree is 5,000 years. Yeah, we got a bunch of people saying that. So, okay, so we've got some comps here. Moving to the next page. Then that just makes it all the more worth studying. I think I'll settle down and live here. Sure you won't get lost? Anyway, let me check out the inside too. Yeah. Bonnie has a interesting reaction. What's the matter, Bonnie? Behind you, there's something creepy. What I'm afraid of. Lightning. So, this is good. We needed the stakes to rise. We needed to... This is what we needed. Enough setup. Let's get into some stuff here. Alright. Oh, Elbaf. Land of mystery and wonder. No, this isn't natural. I don't know what that is. Moving on. Next page. Western Village. What I'm afraid of. Draugr. Sober up and grab your weapons. Firefighting Czar is down. That looks like a Draugr to me. It's a damn zombie! You know, I gotta say that I really do appreciate the way that these creatures are drawn. You know, it's so different, right? And the way that they're shaded in, almost like, you know, it's like as if everything else is done with fine pencils, and then he's taking some really cheap markers and coloring and shading these things in. Is this related to the children's daydream somehow? What's going on? Where are the captains? Someone needs to take command. They drank too much and had to rush to the bathroom. It looks awfully familiar. Is it an enormous me? Says Brooke. Quick, take the visitors away from the village. Ready? I'm gonna move the whole desk. Wait, hold on. Don't treat us with kid gloves. We want to fight too. He said that awfully quiet. Whatever this is, it doesn't seem like business as usual for Elbaf. No, Cologne, you can't. Okay, why not? I'm a warrior too. I want to fight. Of course you can't, but I'm the son of Gabon. Exactly. You're not Gabon. Go find safety with the rest of the children and stay put. Got it? Hey, Ja Rule. What is it, girl? There's something we need to tell you about. I'm sorry we didn't bring it up earlier. An intruder who looks like red-haired in the castle? Yeah, and they're telling the person that I think is a plant anyway. Yes, sir. The pair were incredibly strong. One of them used strange powers. The quickest answer to most mysteries in this world is a devil fruit of some kind. If these phenomena are unfamiliar to you, then there's a good chance that those folks are behind it all. Form the entire country that two humans unrelated to the Straw Hat crew have infiltrated. Tell me as soon as they're found. You got it, Chief. Do you think there are just two of them causing all of these strange phenomena? Perhaps we should expect more. At least two. You got it. I don't know who these people are, but if they're abducting children in broad daylight, they're despicable. We have to stop them. Yep, Nami's on brand. What are they going to demand from Elbaf once they've got the kids hostage? I've never heard of an abduction like this. It will not come to pass. We'll help too. Just give us a ship and someone to move us around. Nonsense, you are our guests. Stay in hiding where it's safe. Wait, where are Dory and Brogy? Still in the bathroom, Chief. Got it, Chief. Bunch of lightweights. Okay. Moving on. Huh? You're not gonna stop me. You wanna ride with me? Okay, then I'm the captain. That's so adorable. Okay. Nami's soft spot for kids shining here. And we're off. Very Vicky the Viking. Man of the Oars. Kaloon Pirates. You're the biggest one here. You do the rowing. Onward. Okay. Next page. Message to all of the Sun World. Humans unrelated to the Straw-Hat crew have been spotted at Alrust Castle. Is Gunko listening to music? Is TD for tone dial or something? I forget. I feel like that's something that's been set up already, right? Because when Brooke came back from the time skip, wasn't it like that he sold a bunch of TDs? Like that's what they called CDs in this world? Been a while. All right. They have demonstrated overt hostility and are considered... Okay. Gihaha. It's Gunko's post-meal ritual. It's not a ritual, I just like doing it. TDs, huh? I prefer listening to a live musical performance, and whoever flubs the first note, bang. But it's nice to have a hobby you can carry around with you. What's that song you like so much? New World. Alright, so she's a Soul King Brook fan. So I talked about it, and then it references what I just talked about. Yeah, what? You got a problem with the one we already live in? Don't make fun of what other people like, Summers. Oh yeah, sorry about that. But hey, look, the adults are trying their hardest to save the kids. So now, if she's a Brooke fan, that might be funny to see her, like, fighting the Straw Hats, but asking Brooke for an autograph or something. I can see that. Next page. Alright, we're back with Saul. There, this should keep me safe. Now I'm gonna stop him cold. Good luck, Saul. I can tell you're just following the stationary cloth thingy. The cloth is heading right for the fire. You're gonna die if you keep going forward, so I'm gonna stop you. There, she stopped. Oh, and then it starts attacking the kids. Ugh. That's dark. That's dark, Oda. No, I'm sorry. Eva, Scaldi. You okay back there, Olaf? What a disaster. If you stop one, the others damage each other with the spikes. This is awful. It's sadistic. I agree, Robin. Saul, I think our only option is to search for whoever's powers these are. Do we even know if they're nearby? But the kids are going to throw themselves into the fire while we search. I gotta try everything I can. If we can't stop them from the front, I'll start with Bjorn in the back. There, got him loose from the line. Now if we just peel them off one at a time. Huh? What I'm afraid of. Fenrir. Are they working together somehow? Who's controlling this thing and from where? Mr. Principal, it's not just the Western Village. Other villages are reporting back about similar monsters. It's happening all over Elbaf. Seems clear that these are devil fruit powers at work. We must identify the culprits. Agreed. Outside of the Western Village. Here we go. Draugrs aren't actually supposed to exist, though. Look how much trouble it was just to stop one of these things. Get the wounded to the village. Next page. Wow. We got Nidhogg. Okay, what I'm afraid of. Ghosts. And Nidhogg. We can't protect the village. Flee for your lives. There's no use. There's just too many monsters. It's our turn, Dory. Indeed, Brogy. Okay, we got the Hakoko Sovereignty boys are back. Yes, the captains. mean, the giant pirate crew. Sorry for taking so long. We had to puke up all we drank. Such a shame. It's the Great Eric Svar edition. You're gonna get it now, all you monsters. Why'd you bother to sober up? We'll exterminate all these monsters. You folks help the children. But look, it's Mr. Ya, the Mountain Eater. That ship is unstoppable. So he's on the ship with them, huh? Or maybe he's just elsewhere. Okay. So, alright. So we've got a structure that's 3,000 years old that's going to hold some scientific mysteries that hopefully Frankie can use to his advantage. But I'm not going to get my hopes up too much. I've been disappointed with that 2 arcs in a row. And we're introduced to a bunch of these monsters crawling in, and we've got the Straw Hats telling Ja Rule that something is amiss, and Kaloon takes a little ship, and on the painters they start flying off towards some of these creatures. We know that Gunko is a Brook fan now. The best part of the chapter, bar none, is the part where Saul is trying to save the kids and can't, because it actually, like, it helps make Summers more of a menace. Because these giant creatures, like, they're gonna get low diffed. So, and we even see that where Dorian Brogy like one shot Nidhogg and the Ghost, and of course, you know, if Gabon's getting involved, like, he's gonna do some crazy attack that's gonna take out one or more of them to begin with. Maybe he'll do like a giant hockey blast, like the Joy Boy thing, so that we know that he can do it, and then we can learn it. So I'm not afraid of these creatures, but I do really like how sadistic Summers is, and it's like I like seeing characters trying things and it doesn't work. And I want to get to the point where it does, but you know, it's like you need this stuff. This is the stuff that Oda like kind of skips past a lot. So I'm glad that he spent time doing that. We did not get Loki's Devil Fruit, so the math piece of that did not pan out. So congratulations, I played myself there. But you know, maybe we get it next week, and technically, if we got it next week, it would still kind of be the same, because 11:45 is when Luffy was really like going off. As 10:45, I mean, is when he was really like showing off his power. So we'll see what next week holds. No break, so that's good. Shout out to DJ BS. Member for 45 months. I said cheers, Captain. Cheers, TJ. Catch up on the chat here. Gunko a double triple agent, asked Mag Mortar. I don't think so. I think Oda's going to like play the gag of it. Like Gunko is very much going to be trying to kill everybody, but asking for Brook for an autograph like in the middle of it. And Brook's going to, you know, deny. You know, so we'll get that. Gunko versus Brook? Maybe. I'd prefer Robin, though. Ali said, so they know what zombies are and not from Moria. Yeah. I'm not going to think too hard on that one. Ollie also said, is that another teacher from the school to know that the kids drew their fears, or a young enough giant that he also did the assignment, or a parent who saw a drawing? So, that's something that kind of, I didn't talk about it, but it was something that's sort of triggered something while I was reading. I was like, why does somebody over here know about that? Because it's a different area. It's where the party was happening. So, I'm going to assume that they're a parent of one of the children that knew about the assignment. And we got something like that last chapter where someone was like mentioning that their kid, you know, was it was something like, but my kids are over there, you know, so it could just be that person. Ollie said, did I get spoiled or just a really good connection I picked up on? I didn't get spoiled on anything. And when I do get spoiled, I let you guys know. So I'm not sure which part that started. Well, I guess this is where I am in the chat. I guess this is about me remembering the Brooke stuff. Reddit says, Randy's memory is impeccable. I just remember things. Reddit said, seeing Gunko turn into a fangirl while Brooke is trying to stop her could be fun. Yeah. It's a fun way to, like, add something to the story here. Brandon said, theory, Gunko wears her underwear on the outside because she's Brooke's biggest fan and he knows he likes to see them, so... That's wild. But hey, you know what? Brooke's a 90-year-old man. Spent 50 years of his life in the middle of nowhere. He deserves this. Luke said, hooray, set up chapter. Another one. But I actually... This isn't as much of a setup chapter as the last chapter was. The last chapter was a real setup chapter. And this is like it's executing a little bit on the setup from last week. So it's a soft execution chapter. It's still setting things up in terms of like, here's it's, you know what, it's more of a table setting chapter rather than a full setup, because now you're actually you're setting the table, you're showing the geography of where everybody is and where these monsters are going. So it's a little bit different. It's in the same area of it, but there's at least a little bit of execution going on here. So next week we really should be like getting some action though. Fishna said another science building for Frankie to explode. Barry said, like D-Stream, listen to Barry. Big Stinky's letting us know that he's doing a big stinky. Copy. P.S. Did a little super with no words attached, but I appreciate it. Greta said 10:45 makes more sense to me. Yeah, I mean, it's when everybody's like really actually talking about the stuff. It's, you know, that's the execution of everything. So I'm just gonna punt my theory from last week to this week and say that next week is Loki's Devil Fruit Reveal. Jin said, if Shamrock is Shanks' twin, not going to be surprised if Gunko is Koala's twin. That would imply that they went and, like, kidnapped... Wait, well, Koala was a slave, right? So... You know what? That's actually that's not too bad, right? So if they were both slaves, but one of them didn't get freed when Fisher Tiger freed everybody, and instead she stayed and became one of the Holy Knights, which then is the organization that the Revolutionary Army is like directly tied to fighting, then a Koala versus Gunko fight would be really cool if that's the, you know, the connection there. So I was going to throw that out, and then I'm like, no, actually I kind of like that. Flanagan said, do you think Gunko's heritage is going to come into play? I mean, I like what Chin just brought up, but at the same time, I feel like it's more fitting if all of the Holy Knights are like true celestial dragons that are, you know, good fighters or something. Because at that point, you know, it's like, why not just have them be like CP9, CP0 or something? Jin said, I hope Usopp and Nami come up with ideas to save the kids since they have a better arsenal than just Saul's shield. Usopp using some pop greens to fight the thorns and all of that could be interesting. I like the idea of Usopp being effective there. That could be fun. I don't know if that's the area that they're going to be heading to, but Nami getting involved with trying to stop the abduction of kids is always on brand for her, so maybe that is where they're heading. But if that's the case, then I would worry that they save all of these kids and instead they kidnap Cologne and get away with him. Max B said, Savage. Haven't caught you live in a while. Glad to be here. Good to see you. Max said, I think Gunko might be a fisherman because of Oda hiding her mouth like with Katakuri. Yeah, I mean, he hid Ulti's mouth also. I think it's just a design aesthetic, but I don't know. Luke said, Chopper and Robin are the closest to the action. Might finally let Robin do something. She was only resting for an entire arc. I would love to see Robin do something. I mean, the interesting thing here is that she's presented with an issue that directly harms her, right? Which is always a good writing technique, and Oda doesn't do it enough with Robin, is like put them against the wall. Put them in a situation that they, can't work their way out of normally, and then see how it happens. Like, if Robin gets stabbed in one of the arms that she creates, it affects all of her arms and her real arm. So fighting someone that, if she grabs them, uses thorns to pierce her, makes things chaotic. But then you get moments like when Luffy punched through Don Krieg's spiked shield, when Nami lets her foot get stabbed so that she can get the upper hand on Doublefinger. So we could get something like that where Robin, takes the brunt of the damage for the kids or for someone else, lets her hands get stabbed through with thorns, so that she can, actually have an effect on this guy. So it's all about resilience at the end of the day with all of these characters. How are you going to bounce back? How are you going to, fight against all odds? So, and I want to see that more with Robin. We don't see it enough. And like you're talking about, she was really out of the action in Egghead, and we still don't know why. Other than Oda just wanting to sideline her. Mizukame brought up Usopp's Impact Wolf, which is interesting, right? Because Fenrir is the one that's with the kids, right? So if they go there and we bring back Impact Wolf, so this giant fern wolf goes up against this dream Fenrir, that's fun. Reddit said, okay, I count 10 monsters in chapter 1142. If Dorian Berge just took out 2 of them, the other giants took out 1, there's 7 monsters left. I don't know if they actually took out the Draugr. I think they just, put him down, but I feel like he's going to get back up. I don't know. since the people that took down the Draugr are a bunch of like no names, I don't know if that's actually gonna stick. Chin said, let Robin face a holy knight. Gunko, please. And she mentions Koala upon meeting her. I mean, that's what I want, too, because it's the same situation that I was talking about with Summers and the Thorns, is Gunko having these arrows and being able to constrict, right? Which is also a big part of Robin's thing. You know, like, she wraps her arms around people and breaks their backs. Gunko wraps her arrows around and crushes. So it's like that. I want some of that too. Vasil Vladivanovici supered and said, "Hear me out. Robin versus Summers. Love that heals versus love that kills." I mean, I'm on board with either of it because I actually, after I was talking about it, I've been Robin versus Gunko since Gunko was introduced. But then I just kind of talked myself into the Summers thing of it all. But I do think that Summers is going to be a Sanji opponent. But now that I'm also mentioning this, right? What if we invert 1005, right? So Robin is fighting Summers, is pushing through, but can't... unfortunately can't get through the thorns, right? And then yells out, "Sanji, help me." And this man leaves the underground and basically teleports there and fights Summers on Robin's behalf. Like, they're in the middle of everything and his, like, love radar goes off and he's just like, "Sorry, guys, I got a tip." And then you give Sanji a cool moment. He protects Robin, starts fighting Summers. And maybe because of his new physiology, right? The thorns, when they try to constrict him, it doesn't do any damage. That could be fun. But in that situation also, I would want Robin to not stop fighting, but to just move over to Gunko. Like, if it's a situation where she's like trying to fight both of them, and then Robin can actually focus on Gunko because Summers is being taken over by Sanji, then that becomes... that's okay. I still want Robin to fight someone. Andrew O'Hara said, "So Diamante again." See, like, that's one of my... Like, I love Dressrosa. But the fact that Robin didn't have a 1v1 is never going to sit right with me. Like... And mentioning Diamante, like, that would have been fun if she was involved in that fight. I mean, I wouldn't put her in that fight just because it actually means more that Kyros takes out Diamante, but imagine Robin trying to fight Diamante, but she can't grab him because he's too slippery and he like keeps flagging away or whatever. I would have actually just maybe removed Barto from the Gladius fight. Like, Robin fighting somebody that can blow themselves up, like, that's the kind of thing that poses a challenge. How do you get Robin to defeat someone like that? And I would have much preferred this character that has been in the story for a very long time to defeat them rather than Barto, who, you know, was just invented. Mizukame is dropping some Draugr lore, saying In Skyrim, the Dawnbreaker sword is needed to one-hit kill Draugrs. Otherwise, you have to keep physically dismembering their fallen corpses so they don't get back up. Sunstone sword inbound. I mean, that's interesting. Because maybe that's also what's going on with the Draugr anyway. Is like they chopped its legs off, but it's like it's still around or something. I don't know. Robin versus Hakuba. Red Hood. I mean, that was a cool moment for her, and a callback to the Pell thing, that it doesn't matter how fast you are, she can get you. Max B said, I feel that if any of the Straw Hats are able to beat any Holy Knight 1v1, it would make Dragon's caution of them really dumb. I agree. Which is why I'm upset that they're here. Because it is supposed to be this huge threat. And I don't think we're at the point in the story where we're ready to fight these guys. Which makes me, you know, I talked about this last week and probably the week before and probably the week before that, but I don't know where we we go from here if we are supposed to fight these guys, because it neuters their danger, which is why I really liked the part with Saul and Robin this week, showing how dangerous they actually are. I would rather they win here. Like, I don't want to see them lose, because otherwise it's just what's our challenge when we get to the Holy Land? But the other problem is like Shamrock's got to leave, right? They want to take these kids and they want to go. We've been trying to get to Elbaf for 25 years. Literally. And we're here, and the story is like dictating that Oda wants to do something that motivates us to leave Elbaf. Because if the kids leave Elbaf, then we have to go save the kids. So I don't know what the plan is here, which is why I'm like, the interesting thing to do in the story is that another ship appears, and then we really deal with our true problem, which is Blackbeard, Cross Guild, Big Mom, whatever. The Marines, Akainu. I don't know. I need something else. DK said, imagine if there was a sword only the Sun God could use. I'm laughing hard imagining Zoro being pissed at Luffy. Never gonna happen. Still funny to think about. Yeah. Luke said, okay, silly prediction time. The facility Frankie found is related to Automata. Well, I like that. I believe Enel is coming back this arc. I agree with you. Especially after the lightning from Loki being shown to be a weakness to Elbaf. If there's ever a time to bring back Enel, it's now. And if there's ever a time to go to the moon, it's now. You know, like, if we're going to leave Elbaf, it should be us going to the moon, not going to the Holy Land right now. So, Automata show up with Enel, help activate the facility, ancient history lore dump. What's interesting also about that is that if Enel shows up at that factory with some Automata, no one there knows who Enel is. Right? Because Frankie wasn't part of the crew yet. So... But in that situation also, like, I've talked about this before, I think it would be really interesting if Enel in these past 2 years is like a completely different person. Like, he's learned the true history and he understands his role in all of this now. Because it's like, if a guy who thought himself to be God and fights this person and gets defeated by this other person and then learns that that person actually was God the whole time, like, that, there's so much character stuff there that you can activate. So, I don't know. Old Green Knees, super appreciate you, said, chance of a time skip. Frankie in the lab with Vegapunk, Gabon telling the Straw Hats to come find him, Robin in the library, even Sunny upgrade. We need to cut off another branch of the Atom Tree anyway. I have been saying short time skip for years, and it needs to be like a training thing. Gabon needs to teach. If Rayleigh taught Luffy how to do hockey, Gabon's got to teach everybody else something. You know, like, that's the way you invert, parallel it, and all that. Because it's like, we can't be going into these final fights without any hockey or you know, going against top tiers and all this kind of stuff. Like, how are any of our crew going to survive against Blackbeard or even these Holy Knights? So. Nove said, why can Brook use ice when battling and he can freeze the sea like Aokiji? Because he's channeling the chill of the underworld. That's the actual I think that was in an SPS by Oda. So there's a lot of literature that implies that Hell is actually a frozen land and not a burning land, and especially in Norse mythology, Hell is frozen. So, and since One Piece takes a lot of cues from Norse, it's implying that we have a cold hell in this world. Brandon said, Enel on the moon learns he's not God at the exact moment Luffy learns he is one on Elbaf. Cut to a double page spread of both of them doing a double Enel face in all its glory. You know, I don't need him learning it at the same time, because then I'm wondering what he's been doing for 2 years. Like, I need Enel to come back, and then I'll put it this way. I think it's boring if Enel comes down and he's like, I'm God and I'm going to destroy this land. You know, like, then we're just repeating Skypiea. It's like, this character went to the moon, learned all this stuff, and didn't change. What's the point? Why did we have the cover story? Why is he back? He's got to be changed. He's got to have some sort of new perspective. He needs to be someone that, like, gives us lore that we don't have. He needs to fill in some of the clues, you know, and then it makes panels really interesting, like when he finds Robin in El Dorado, right? In the remnants of Shandora. He sits there, he finds her, and they have a whole conversation about all the stuff, the gold, and how Enel doesn't really care about any of it. I'm paraphrasing, you know, that's not what he's really saying, but the intent of the scene is like, oh, whatever, right? But if he's been trying to get to the moon and then, you know, it's not whatever anymore, it's like, oh, this is a big deal. Now I know my role in all of this. Then I'm interested. Then this character is like different. Big Stinky said, what if Bonnie sees a future for Frankie and Lilith where they can understand the technology? Or a future where Frankie and Lilith are from ancient times? I don't think we've seen something where Bonnie can directly affect another person's future. I mean, obviously she's affecting other people by changing their ages, and then she has the near-death experience. But we haven't had a moment where, you know, give me a future like, you know, or, you know, she's got it for her, but there's never been a give them a future like, which could be interesting, but almost like implies awakening to me. Luke said, I need Luffy to hear he's a god and just not care. Oh, that's going to happen. Trust and believe. I've talked about that too. He isn't going to care. You have a Nell trying to like explain how important it is that he's God, right? This is, I don't care. Brandon, I talked about the panty thing that you just posted earlier. You're good. Chin said, if Chopper fed his new mink drug, or a drug he used on Zoro to Loki, either Loki has an Oar's awakening, or Loki meets the underworld Grim Reaper like Zoro did. That's a little wacky for me, but we do need an explanation on the Reaper. Little Dream said, hey Randy. Hey Will. Aether said the moon is pretty much a giant ship with Enel as its captain. The moon is powered on now, according to the cover story. The moon starts getting closer. That's interesting imagery. Said, or hear that he's the destroyer of Elbaf and be like, but why? I'm not going to do that. I'm the most free, even from prophecy and fate. See. I don't know if we're gonna get another like destroyer of land thing like we got in Fishman Island. Unless that's all part of it. That he, you know, you got to break it all down to rebuild it. That's interesting. So Ollie said it would be kind of funny to see Enel zap the Dream Lightning. I mean, that's a pretty solid introduction to Enel coming back, honestly. Like, they get worried about all of it. It's just, yeah, ha 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 ha. Rain some God's judgment. I like that. Ollie said, and Elzap's the lightning who wants to go to the 3,000-year-old building because he learned of it on the moon or before when he went to Elbaf. I think it would be more interesting if Anel shows up and he says, "What are you doing in my house?" And he's been going back and forth from the moon to this structure. But again, none of them know who he is because none of them were on Skypiea. Luke said, "Ooh, now that I think of it, what if the facility grown into the tree is a clue that Elbaf needs to be destroyed? It's an ancient facility that is being activated by the Gods Knights." Well, I feel like if that were the case, and Elbaf was one giant facility and was part of the Ancient Kingdom and all this kind of stuff and had all these advancements, I feel like the government would have taken a much more staunch approach to destroying it. But they are scared of the giants as well, so it's a tricky situation because you start getting into these things where you start wondering, like, well, why didn't they deal with this sooner? Why now? You know, and you never want the answer to why now be, well, because Luffy's here now. It's like, well, we already know that, you know, like, where in the story we're, you know, it's like, you needed to work, you need a better reasoning than that. And that's the hard part. He said, so Anel appears with Frankie at the building. Robin and Chopper and the others try to stop the kids' advance, but who or what appears for the power trio? Can't be just a half-dead Loki, right? So you think one of these creatures shows up in the underground, in the underworld as well? I don't know if it needs to. I feel like they're, like, deliberately trying to attack the Sun World right now, so I think this whole, like, Loki thing is isolated from everything. Could be wrong, but you know, depending on what happens to Robin, I could see Sanji leaving that situation, though, like I mentioned earlier, and like skywalking up and defending that team. I'm more interested in knowing at this point where Cologne and the others are going. It seems like it would make sense that they would get involved in this abduction plot line. But I also don't want to... I don't want everybody getting involved in that, though. I like the idea of Robin, Saul, and Chopper having to deal with something and not being able to. And if you start putting Jinbei, Brook, Nami, Usopp, Cologne into that mix, like, now it's a whole thing. And the focus is removed from Robin, who desperately needs focus in this story. But it's probably what's going to happen. Barry said, the roots of a tree can reach down just as far as the branches reach up. What's the possibility of it being a key to the Forbidden Sun? I mean, we also see that with, like, the sun tree, right? Eve, you know, the roots reaching down and providing sunlight and giving Fishman Island, you know, extra benefits. So the roots of the Elbaf tree going down into the water and then having there be something underneath, you know, like, we didn't get to explore what was below in Wano, but what if the ancient kingdom is actually, like, I mean, you know, underwater, obviously, like Atlantis and everything. We know the world was flooded, so there's got to be cities and structures that are beneath, and it makes sense that underneath this tree could be that, and then we really get into the quote underworld. Could be fun. Nick said Cologne and the Straw Hats are going to join the Dream Dinner. That's not bad. I like that. Keeps them out of the other thing. Allows all of those 3 Holy Knights to fight those guys. Jinbei's the only one who can really stand a chance. And if they all get beat, then that's fun. And then you also get the Brook and Gunko stuff. Cone Killer said the why now argument is so good. Too frequently I've felt that the Straw Hats show up just as stuff happens to hit a crescendo. I mean, that's the thing with just about, you know, like, it's one of the biggest problems with any story. And it's something that, like, you know, you kind of have to reconcile, especially when you're writing something where it's like, you want to show the most important, best, and worst days of anybody's lives on screen, on page, whatever, because that's the interesting thing. But when you have a long-running story like this, it almost becomes repetitive that, like, every time the Straw Hats show up, it's the most important time for these particular islands and stuff, right? It's like the Straw Hats arrive at Skypiea conveniently on the day that Enel has finished the Maxim and is going to destroy Skypiea, and Luffy just so happens, as if divinity has you know, shone down on him, that, like, he's there to save Skypiea. Like, those are the elements of convenience that feel forced in a story. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where you kind of want all of this stuff to be happening in the background, and then there's an active choice made to prevent it. But too much in the story, and I'm not trying to bash the story for any reason, but it's like, but too often, you know, do you get scenarios like that, which is why Zoe was pretty good, right? Because in no matter which case, the Straw Hats got there and they were too late. Like, something had already happened. Like, they didn't show there. Like, they didn't show up as Jack was destroying Zoe, which is, you know, that would have been the, you know, the Skypiea problem. You want things to motivate. Now, it's not a thing where Oda does this all the time, right? Because it's like, take, for instance, Whole Cake Island. Whole Cake Island is an interesting example because the event is actually driven by a Straw Hat, in a way, right? There is an event happening. One of the Straw Hats gets kidnapped to go to this event, and now we have to go there on that particular very important day. We didn't show up, and then, like, just so happens that there's a wedding and all of this stuff. Like, that's that. Drum could be considered a little convenient. They're getting there just as, like, Wapol is about to, you know, come back and reclaim his throne. Alabasta had enough setup where it doesn't feel as forced. Syrup Village, very convenient. They're arriving pretty much on the day that this butler has been waiting for, you know, however many years, and it's, you know, Kaya's birthday, and now he's gonna fleece her for all of her money on the same day that the Straw Hats show up. You know, that's not great. So, you know, you could... It's kind of fun going through and figuring out which moments are great and which moments are... like, it's circumstance versus what's being driven by our characters. You know, it's like... Water 7 doesn't feel like convenience. It manages to avoid that because the events have been happening for so many years there, like the undercover agents and all that kind of stuff, but the fact that we arrive, particularly Nico Robin arrives, like kind of kicks off something. So it's like now our characters are motivating the story rather than just arriving on a special day. So that kind of works. It's kind of fun thinking about this stuff. But Luke said, new exercise. Imagine if the Straw Hat crew shows up to important events a week later. Well, if they arrived to Skypiea a week later, they would have gone up into the sky and then they would have fell right back down. Show's over. I mean, that's part of the interesting thing about Dressrosa in a way, is like, that's, you know, what if you showed up to Alabasta 10 years later, right? And then you just have to think that, you know, imagine Crocodile would still be there. He'd be the king of Alabasta, right? And maybe Vivi is still there, but she's Viola, you know? And all of Baroque Works is... you know, just hanging out in the palace. And there's this whole operation where they're digging in the sand trying to find an ancient weapon that's not there. I've been monologuing for a while. I'm going to look at the chat. Let's see. Andy Dalif, if Anel does come back, I don't think they'll go to the moon. He can tell them what they need to know. But even need them to join him going underground to hell. I feel like we're owed going to the moon. I feel like it's like the crazy One Piece thing to do. Hey, Mark. Said, interesting, I come across this thought when I'm writing. You want the situations to feel natural and progression of the story. And you want the situations to be character-driven, not plot-driven. So... XYZ happens because the character did this. Not XYZ happens, so the character does this. That's, you know, those are the different scenarios. And it's... You generally mix between both of them, but the interesting one is always the things change because the character does something. Tungsten said Aqua Laguna, though. Yeah, so that's the convenient thing also, right? So the Straw Hats, regardless of everything else that I mentioned, the Straw Hats do arrive on the one day a year that there's, you know, a magical tidal wave that's going to attack. So, true on that. Mark said, is Marineford a good example of it not being convenient? It's similar to the whole cake situation, right? So let's think about that. Well, it's all character driven. And Marineford is actually a good example of what I was talking about, right? Because it's like you know that the ace thing is happening in the background. You're seeing it happen. You're seeing the newspapers. You're seeing people's reactions to all of it. You know that this event is going to happen at some point, right? So going back to the original Skypiea example I was talking about, where they just so happen to show up on the day that Enel is going to blow up Skypiea. The Arc Maxim is done, etc., etc. If Enel had been established as a character earlier on in the story, and the world knew about Skypiea, and there was rumblings that it was going to get destroyed, and there was a timer on it, right? And the Straw Hats actively went to Skypiea to stop it. Like, they were, you know, working, trying to devise a plan. We need to get up there, and we need to stop this guy from blowing up the island. Then it's like Marineford, right? Because you have the timer. Luffy's actively trying to stop it. So that's the different. You're keeping it. The audience already knows that it's coming, so it doesn't feel convenient and just popping up out of place in that moment. You've set up the timer ahead of time, and you've made it a choice that the characters want to stop it ahead of time. So that's the difference. So yeah, Marineford's a good example. Chin said, like, Luffy gets eaten by a snake in Skypiea and missing throughout our whole battles. Yeah, so, like, the snake bit, that's... I need to remove Luffy from the equation because I need to progress the plot, and if Luffy is not in the snake, things will happen a lot faster, and I want to continue this Hunger Games game. So, Skypiea, great for lore. There's some great twists in there. Not Oda's best work, objectively. You know, when we're talking about it from this lens. Not that Skypiea's bad. Flashback's great. There's good moments. But too convenient. Blizzard says, I love how Enel killed everyone, then after the battle, they were all magically alive. Ah, my favorite part of Skypiea. I'm just so happy that Kamakiri, Genbo, Laki, they made it. Bagaya. I'm just so happy that they're alive. Yeah. So. And there you have it, guys. Matter of fact, I'm so happy that Gadatsu survived a 10,000 meter fall. Because he landed in a sand dune. Sand broke his fall. Brandon said Gadatsu is as durable as Kaido. Yeah, and I think the top 30s should reflect that. Chopper got lucky. He just managed to, you know, make the guy slip and fall through the cloud. That dude was gonna tear Chopper up. Tear everybody up. Barry said, but do the power scalers remember that? No. Because most power scalers skip Skypiea. And they watched Alabasta in a day. They don't even remember that some of these characters are characters. Power scalers are New Piece fans. Yeah. Power scalers didn't start One Piece until it went HD. They just read the rest of it on Wikipedia. Vishnu said the power scalers are too afraid to mention Papagu. OG lore dumper. Goat. I'm laughing at you, Luke. Aether said there's no such thing as reading this story without power scaling. Some people believe that. Some people believe that with their chest. I, however, have found another way. Brandon said Papagu was Nika before it was cool. Bro wished to be a starfish and made it happen. Well, he was already a starfish. He wished to be sentient and made it happen. But anything that you believe in this world can be reality. So together we're stronger. Together we're stronger. I know what you meant. It's okay. So I'm going to take one last look at this chapter again, scan through these pages, then I think I'm going to wrap things up. If anybody's got any other things that they want to talk about, we went on some fun tangents about writing and all of that, and that's fun too. So, I liked all the thoughts that we had about Enel. I mean, he's going to appear. So, if he appears here, whew, it's about to get spicy. But I'm really interested in this Frankie stuff. I'm really interested in everything that's going on with Robin and Saul. And then the rest of it, I'm waiting for it to get more interesting. This is a short chapter too. This was only 15 pages. Well, I don't know. We better see Gabon go off though. We gotta let these top tiers be top, you know. I miss the peak days of when we were getting Divine Departure and Galaxy Impact. It's like I need that moment for Gabon here. Shout out to Growth Stocks. Came through with the super appreciated. Said the robot this chapter looks identical to the robot from La Puta. This arc, we might have an OP version of La Puta show up as the weapon that destroyed the Lucia, which also could be the Emerald City. Castle in the sky, huh? Let's see. Which robot are we talking about? Are we saying that the building itself is a robot? So that the top windows you're thinking are like the head of the robot from Castle in the Sky, which I guess that's what you're referring to, because the eyes were kind of lopsided on that robot. So, and the eyes are lopsided here. So I think that's what you're talking about. Bond Minister of Love versus Summers Pain of Love. Yeah, I mean, that'd be fun. I mean, in that scenario though, like I'd want Bond to lose, which sucks, but you know, what would be great is if Sanji like met Gabon and formed like some sort of like bond based on the fact that they're, you know, both the left hands of a pirate king here. And then if Summers like killed or defeated Gabon, then it becomes personal for Sanji, and you know that's a end of series sort of fight for him. Brandon says he's talking about the ancient tree tech. Yeah, and I figured that as I started thinking about it. The building looks like a robot. In some translations, Frankie is mentioned to be an android in that panel too. The spoilers called it that. Got it. Okay. Yeah. The viz doesn't indicate that the building is a robot. Jin says it looks like an Emeth type that turned into a tree lab. Yeah, I guess I could see that. Seeing a lot of theory for theory talks, but we're not on break. We have a chapter next week. According to Viz. It says chapter in 7 days. It's an interesting structure, though. So, excited for what comes next week. I'm voting that we get Loki's Devil Fruit still. Holding on to that. How's Monster Hunter Wilds? Haven't played it. Too busy playing Marvel Rivals. It's like this is pretty much what I do every night. Just pop that on. Saeed said Dory and Brogy attacked 3 sleep tids at the end. Draugr, the Ghost, and the Loki lookalike. The Loki lookalike? I thought they attacked the Ghost and Nidhogg. Nidhogg being the dragon that protects the underworld underneath Yggdrasil in Norse mythology. Let's go back to that. Oh, wait a second. I thought that was the Ghost, but there is a different one. But that one wasn't even established. It just was in the shot here. Because you see the Ghost, you see the dragon, and then, yeah, there is something underneath it. But we didn't see that guy in the other shots. I don't know if they got the Draugr, to be honest. That I can't tell from this last page. But at the last second, it does look like some other being like got hit. Unless the implication there is that that's not a sleep tid, even though it is kind of like shaded like one, and that's actually just a giant that's reacting to it. I don't know. That's a little bit weird, but I'm glad you pointed that out, Saeed. Brandon said, yeah, the spoilers said implied that it was a robot, and I low-key saw it when I saw the page. Gotcha. Saeed said, oh, I meant Nidhogg, not Draugr. Got it. Yeah. Some of these fears remind me of Straw Hats, Aether said, Nika, Luffy, Thunder, Zeus, Draugr, Brook. There might be more. I mean, It would be nice if they were all like dark variations of the strats in some way, but I think we'd be stretching if we start looking at that from all of them, but yeah, the last theory was a while ago. I did try to set one up last time. Everybody was busy. But we'll figure something out. But that's maybe a next week problem. So either way, guys, I'm gonna wrap things up here, and we can catch back up next week for 11:45. Is Scopper on the Eric? It maybe, like he's either nearby or on the Eric, so it's strange, but yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out, and hopefully we get some really juicy stuff next week. Yeah.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.